Hey my crafty creatures. So in today's video I wanted to do a pair of shorts. I have been going through the summer and I see that I've just been going through my shorts so quickly, and I want to get some more so that I can have enough to keep on hand. So for this video I'm going to be doing a pair of shorts that are meant for a woven fabric, but I'm going to be doing them with the knit. This is kind of like the best way to kind of modify using the fabrics. You never want to go the other way around where you're taking a knit and going into a woven. So this time I'm going to be doing the woven into the knit. I have decided on this pattern right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down at least 2 sizes from where I think I'm supposed to be, and then sew it up just basically as is. The only thing I will be changing is this one calls for a zipper. I'm not going to be using a zipper, and I'll just be using elastic for the waistband. And that's pretty much it. Everything else I'll just be sewing up pretty much exactly how it's supposed to. So hopefully this comes out good. Hopefully I don't get the sizing wrong, but there's nothing to it but to do it and, you know, try it out and see if it works. So if you want to see how this process ends up coming out, stay tuned to the video and we'll see what ends up being the final result. All right, so since this is the very first time I am opening this pattern up, I am going to go ahead and cut out all the pieces. I mean, like everything for every size and all of that, or every variation of it. And I'm just going to cut all of that out because that way if I end up liking this pattern, I can just go on ahead and sew the next thing. So with that said, let's get cutting. All right, and now that I have everything cut out, I am going to fold up the pieces I know for sure I won't need. And I usually just try to follow along with the folds that are already there. So like I see that this one is the main one. And then we can see from here, there's actually quite a few of them that kind of overlap. And mainly I'm looking for the lines that go like the full length of whatever section I'm trying to fold. So in this case, it was pretty easy. And then I could fold here. And then there we go. I do this for all of the pieces, finding out which one has the one that goes straight across full line. Is this one? All right, now I have all the pieces I need to kind of get my pattern pieces cut out. So what I'm going to be doing is taking these pattern pieces and tracing them out on some tracing paper to get the exact size that I want. I typically do this because I want to keep these patterns intact as much as possible, and then just use the tracing paper so that I can change sizes, make adjustments wherever I need to, and not have to worry about these pattern pieces degrading over time. And that's what I like to do in my process. So let's go on over to my desk to get these pieces traced out. I wanted to give you a little bit of a backstory of why I decided to go with this pattern piece as well as the fabric that I'm choosing. And the whole reason is I got an idea in my head that I wanted some pants that had princess seams but also flared out. And I knew I had at least one pattern that would match that, which is why I decided this one. I was thinking about just kind of creating my own pattern, and I still could do that, or I could have done that, but I decided to go with this pattern just because I want to test it out. I have all these patterns and it's kind of pointless if I don't actually use them. So I wanted to go ahead and try this out, at least to get the idea of how everything goes together. Now these shorts don't come with pockets, and I will be adding that in there. So I'll be making pattern pieces for that. Aside from that, I think everything should go pretty much straightforward. As far as the pockets, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to do an inseam pocket. That's going to be the easiest way. There is a technique for that pocket that I do want to try out. So I will be trying to figure that out as we go along, and then I'll show you guys what I've kind of figured out. And it should be relatively simple, and it'll help that, you know, pocket just lay kind of perfectly. So let's get tracing these pieces out and making sure that I get the right size. Here's to hoping that all of that comes out correct the first time and we don't have to do this again and again and again. But let's get tracing. Okay, so I have all of my pattern pieces cut out. I did off screen just create the pocket piece, and to create that I just took the side front and lined everything up, traced that, and I wanted to make sure the pocket went in deep enough but make sure it was long enough. I usually go with about 11 inches from the bottom to the top whenever I'm doing my pockets. That seems to give me a pretty good base for any type of pocket I make, and I just kind of kept it along the same kind of lines as the pocket here. And for the opening I did 6 inches. I may or may not need to make that a little bit longer, but 6 inches usually gets me where I need to be, but we'll see. It's been a while since I've done a pocket from scratch, so I don't really recall, but I think 6 is good. I know 5 is not long enough, but 6 should be okay. And then we're just going to get the rest of these pieces cut out with this fabric here. This is the fabric that I've decided to go with. This I got along with one of the other fabrics that has kind of like a similar look to it, but I really like this design. It's not typically something I go for, but it just kind of drew me to it, so I decided to go with it. So let's get these fabric laid out so that I can cut out all of these pieces. One thing I have noticed with these pattern pieces is sometimes I wish they put more markings as far as like where they match up. Cause like I feel like there should be like one here and maybe like one in the back or a side or something like that. They only seem to ever do like one, and then it's like on the fold, so you have two, but it only lines up in like one spot. And I feel like they should have at least one in the back and one in the front or sides, wherever they put them. But I feel like there should be one on the opposite side too, and they never seem to do that. All right, so now I have all of my pieces cut out, and we can start getting these pieces sewn together. I won't be using any interfacing, so everything's just going to be, you know, each piece together. So I'm going to start with the front pieces and then do the back pieces and sew those the side and front pieces together and see where we're at from there. And I left the pattern pieces with them, that way I don't mix them up because they look so similar to each other that it would be easy to mix it up. So I'm going to do that, get the front and back sides together, and then we will attach the pockets. All right, so right now I have the two front pieces lined up, and I'm going to be doing a 5/8 seam allowance. And I have this set on 0, which brings the needle towards the left side. And if I line it up with this mark right here, it says 5/8. It will actually give me a 5/8 seam allowance. So I just want to keep that fabric lined up to that little area. All right, so now that I have that seam done, I'm going to serge the edge just to trim down the side just a little bit. Alright, so that's the serged edge, and I will be doing that for all of the pieces. Alright, so now I have just lined up one of the back pieces with the pocket, and I'm just going to baste it along the side, really close to the edge. I'm going to do maybe like a 1/2 inch seam allowance for that, just to hold it in place while I get everything kind of set up with the other side, the front side. All right, now I'm doing the same thing with the front side, making sure that I grab the right one, lining everything up. So now the pocket is sewn on. So it's this piece right here in the middle. And I may have already done that wrong. Let me see if I can figure this out, because there's a specific way I'm supposed to do the pocket, and I think on the front side I'm supposed to leave this separate or something. Let me see if I can find that video so I can figure out what they did in it, because I'm trying to do it off of memory and it fails me. All right, this is gonna look a little bit crazy, but I got the pocket lined up the way it's supposed to be. So this is the pocket itself, and then it'll overlap here, and then I'll close up the rest. But the way I'm doing the pocket is a little bit different than the video I found, just because I'm not sewing it up here. And most of the ones I see have 2 pieces, and I have just one. But it's really nice and secure. So all I have to do is, when I sew in the waistband, just make sure that they line up in the right spot. But I'm going to go through that whole process and show you guys on the other half. So I was able to figure it out. So the first thing I want to do is get my front piece, which is not, is it this one? Okay, so this is my front piece. All right, so the first thing I want to do is get my pocket piece and my front piece, align it so that the right sides are together, and I want to give a little marking of where I want to stop the pocket, which should be at 6 inches. So let me just mark that. And then I also want to mark out 5/8 of an inch so that I know where I need to stop at. All right, I'm going to align that with the 5/8 inch on my sewing machine and just sew a straight line. Then when I get close, I want to slow down and then stop. I'm going to lift up my presser foot and then pivot, and making sure that I'm going at a right angle. I'll drop that presser foot back down. I'll even back stitch a little bit, making sure I don't go over that line, and then just go straight to the edge. Okay, once I have that done, I'm going to clip into this corner right here. And I'm going to get as close as possible without going through. All right, so now that I have that done, I can flip it so that the right side is facing outwards. And then that corner where I sewed it together, we're going to push that out. So then you get this right here. You get a little L shape. And what I'm going to do there is just top stitch it so that it holds everything in place. Now for the top stitch, I am doing 1/4 of an inch away. And I'm going to try not to stretch this that much. I wanted to have a little bit of stretch just so I can like put my hands in it, but I don't want it to stretch out too much where it gets wavy. Okay, so now that that is done, I can flip this over and align it with the side over here. And I want to close up the bottom here. And for the bottom of this pocket, I'm just doing a 1/2 inch seam allowance, which lines up with the edge of my presser foot. But if you're doing your needle in a different spot, you might have to move it over a little bit. After that, I'm just going to serge the end, and then I can sew up the side seam. With the free edge of the pocket, I do like to take the threads from the serger and just weave them through. So I just take a needle and pull the threads through that needle and then feed them back through themselves. So in that seam that was created from the serger, I just run the needle through that and then just pull the thread in. That'll prevent it from unraveling over time. And then I just snip off the excess. Now we need to line everything up and make sure I have a clip right there where the pocket meets. And another one at the end and where the pocket ends as well. Just to make sure all of that stays aligned. And then I'm going to align it with the 5/8 and then just sew a straight stitch all the way down. Alright, and then the last thing to do is just to serge those edges to make it look nice and neat. Alright, so now I just want to line the top of the pocket and baste it just so that does not move or go crazy on me. Align the seam the right way. So I want my seam going towards the back for the pocket. And then align the pocket with the back of it. And then the top of the pocket, line that up as well. Straighten everything out. And I'm going to start a little bit past the back of it at 1/2 inch. And then just make sure that I guide it through. And then that's the front and back, or the front is now attached to the back with the nice little pocket. Now we can start sewing up the other seams. So I can do the front, back, and then the leg hole. All right, so I have pretty much everything done. The only thing I need to do is add the waistband, the elastic, and then hem the bottom. But I mean, I don't really need to sit up there and just show you that. So I am going to go ahead and finish all of that, come back so you can see the final shorts, and hopefully they fit exactly how I'm thinking. I just did like a test right before sewing the bottom, the crotch seam. So that looked pretty good. A lot of this is going to weigh on the waistband, so I need to make sure that I get that the right size and everything like that. But yeah, so I'm excited to like try it on so you guys can see what it looks like. So despite me taking 2 days to make this, I honestly think you could get it done in 1 day. Of course, it depends on what fabric you are using. If you're using a knit like me, it may take a little bit longer, but if you're using a woven fabric, like I feel like this would go like really quickly. I did have a little bit of like that hiccup when I was trying to figure out the pocket, but I feel like the pocket came out really good. I do kind of wish that it had a little more stability in it because this fabric does have a lot of stretch, and I feel like it's not exactly the best fabric for this. To me, it has stretch both ways, which is kind of weird for a fabric like this. You would probably want something that only has like a one-way stretch that goes the widthwise and not also the lengthwise. And with that said, I thoroughly enjoyed these shorts and I will be wearing them for days to come. I'm going to be wearing them all the time basically, and I will be making a few more variations of this And I will make some adjustments as far as making sure that the back is a little bit longer. I feel like that would be the perfect length for the shorts in the backside. Aside from that, everything came out good, and I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.